Worksheet and Workbook titles, Accessibility in Practice, Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Now let's talk about Worksheet and Workbook titles. In a Google Sheet, it's important to effectively describe your workbook title by making it a descriptive title that's simple, short, and to the point. Here I have a sample workbook called Copy of Inaccessible Google Sheet / Excel Spreadsheet. Technically this is correct because it is a copy of an inaccessible sample document, but I'm going to make it shorter because for today's purposes, I'm just going to call it Example Google Sheet. Pretty short and simple, right? If someone looks at that, they should know, hey, this is a sample Google Sheet. And I just click on there, edit the text, and then push enter or click away and it'll save. It's equally important to make sure all of my sheets in my workbook at the bottom are also labeled descriptively and concisely. Each sheet in my workbook has a unique type of data involved. For example, on my first page, I have a layout table of interview questions. So if I want to edit the sheet name, I'm going to select it in the drop-down menu next to the title Sheet 1, and I'm going to select Rename. It now highlights the text and allows me to edit the name. I'm going to call this Interview Questions because for me, it actually does describe this data. And now that I've pressed enter or clicked away, the title is now updated. In my second sheet, I have a different set of data, which talks about different types of documents on a website. Here, I'm going to rename this one Types of Documents. As you can tell, when I add text to my title of my sheets, the words will expand the space that it takes up on the bottom of my screen. So I do want to make sure that my title is as succinct and concise as possible. I don't want to make it a full sentence or a super long book title or anything, because that will make it so that it's actually harder for people to find my sheet and they're going to have to scroll through a long list of sheet names. So make sure folks don't have to do that. If you find yourself having to do that, you might want to make your workbook into multiple workbooks. If there's maybe 20 or more than 10 or so sheets, that's a lot of sheets for people to have to scroll through. So make sure you have a good, nice, small amount of sheets for folks to have to scroll through in your workbook. Find more videos on our YouTube channel at CDLE_DLSS.